Hey you guys, welcome back to Romance Review TV with Lady T. Got another recap for you guys. Married at First Sight, San Diego, season 15, episode 13. So we have our couples having one final chance to speak with the experts as decision day draws near. We got Dr. Pepper, Pastor Cal, and DeVon Franklin helping the couples. And also, they get the chance to talk to each other's new in-laws for advice. And while one couple find it difficult to continue on, another couple is ready to go all in. So before we unpack all of this, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to the channel for all updates. And please don't forget to like and share. Okay, so the first couple we're going to talk about is Lindy and Miguel. So they had a little axe throwing event that looked like Lindy kicked his butt. But you know what? Like she said, he's not a sore loser. He was just enjoying the time spending with her. And, otherwise the conversation was pretty cool. I will say about this particular couple, he seems to be very, very mellow. When it comes to Lindy, however, Lindy has the type of, personality that tends to go negative. She overthinks everything. She thinks the world is coming to an end just when somebody brings something to her attention. And he got a chance to talk to, one of her friends as well. And yeah, she kind of broke that down in regards to that's pretty much how she is. And they got to learn to pretty much try to work through it. Now, they did get a chance to sit down with Pastor Cal. They talked about the whole baby challenge that they had, and it really brought to light whether or not they were ready to be parents right now. But they did readdress the whole situation about her going from 0 to 100 when it comes to things because of the fact that she can really go there. And in this particular case, she said that the last time of what he saw of her, she was at a 4. And he said, when was you ever at a 10? And she said only twice in her lifetime. I'm like, if that was a 4, what does a 10 look like? I don't think he ever want to see that. But I guess Pastor Cal tried to say it's not going to happen that often, so don't expect the worst from her. But at the same time, she do need to work on that as well. So let's talk about Justin and Alexis. And Justin did meet up with one of Alexis's male friends. And, he checked in with him to see how everything was going. Justin pretty much was saying, it's going pretty good, but we have issues when it comes to intimacy. And he want to make sure that the energy that he gives is being reciprocated back. And it was interesting because when they met with DeVon Franklin, who is a guest therapist or expert, he met with Alexis and Justin as well. Now, I will say with these two, they really have, I really don't see them making it. I just don't see that, even though Justin might be a nice guy, I don't think she is finding what she needs in him. Now, the conversation came up about the partying. And DeVon Franklin asked him, don't you want your wife to be free? And she was like, yeah. And, he was like, man, I didn't realize I was controlling. Some of her facial reactions was interesting because when he was saying he wanted to go rock climbing and stuff, she looked like she didn't really believe him. I don't know if you guys caught that. But, I will say with these two is that I just don't see the compatibility. It started off strong because it was all emotions and marriage and happy to be there, but it's just not there with these two. And the whole dog situation really took them on a whole nother level. They had to work through that. And he's worried about the fact of her going to the club that he might lose her in that process. So his confidence is down. So he has to pretty much get that in check and build up his confidence, or else it's not going to work with anybody, because you're going to always be second guessing and questioning that other person because of the fear that you have within yourself. Next up is Morgan and Ben. I gotta say, I am glad that they have decided to end this thing. They sat down with Dr. Pepper. We got Morgan talking about how he never apologized, or it wasn't the type of apology that she felt good enough. And he's looking like, I don't know how many times I've apologized. We've even seen him in previous episodes apologize. But for whatever she's looking for, it's not matching the energy he's giving her in these apologies. So I'm just glad it's over. I know it's hard for him because his family is, ultra traditional and divorce is not the option. And then she brings in this whole thing about showing her degree through her phone, that she is actually a nurse. So, I mean, you ain't got to prove nothing to us. That whole conversation ended 5 or 6 weeks ago, but she just had to show that. Okay. Anyway, they officially, especially Morgan, she's over it. She's like, no, I'm done with this marriage. I'm ready to go. This is my decision day. And of course, Ben agreed with it. And I feel sorry for him because, it just didn't work out. And at the same time, he did realize that he was not ready to be married right now. He needed to go figure out some things. But I think she needed to figure out some things as well, because he wasn't the only issue. He was a bigger part of it, going to having conversations, not being honest. But yeah, she also participated in urging this thing with Krysten as well. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, it is officially over for these two. And at this point, Morgan and Ben, they can say toodaloo because it's over. Now, we're going to move on to our next couple, which is Stacia and Nate. Now, they're doing pretty well. They met with Pastor Cal. Now, the biggest thing about their conversation with Pastor Cal is saying, I love you. She said it. He hasn't. He's not there yet, but he always say, I love so many different things about her. But he catches himself because he said that, he's afraid of getting hurt. She admitted that 10 plus years ago, she cheated in a relationship. And now that sends whatever red flags off to Nate. And I'm like, that's 10 years ago. It wasn't like a month or a year ago. So he had a conversation with Stasia's friends, both of those two ladies. And, they like, how's it going? What y'all been up to? And they're not happy about the fact that Nate hasn't said I love you yet, because they said if he don't, then she's going to pretty much shut down and, dig her heels in. And he was very articulate about how he explained why he's feeling the way that he did. And, I'm hoping that the ladies saw that, that, hey, listen, I got a fear going on, I just need to sort through this. And this was also told to Stacia when Nate's friends talked to her to say, hey, he hasn't really even said I love you to nobody except his sister and his father. And at the same time, he really hasn't been in a solid relationship. Now, a lot of people might think, oh, that's a red flag. Okay, do you want a F-boy? No. And I mean, statistically, there are a lot of men under the age of 30 that either haven't had sex in a year or are still virgins. I didn't know that until recently. So, I mean, it's a possibility that he really hasn't been in a solid relationship. And so they'll be fine. I'm not worried about those two because they really know how to communicate well. Okay, finally, we got to talk about Kristen and Mitch. So Kristen had a conversation with one of his family members, and I'm assuming this might be his sister. I think this is her sister-in-law. And she was, yes, his sister-in-law, his brother's wife. And so she said, she's a direct person. Mitch needs to watch what he say because he's a direct person. And anyway, they had this conversation with Dr. Pepper. And I guess because he's an ultra environmentalist, not through my word ultra on there, it doesn't really vibe with the lifestyle or values that Kristen has, because she want to do her flipping business. And because he is so pro save the world, that is something that is hard for them to overcome, especially when she want to start this business. Then it goes into these whole things about, her not being able to say the right things and setting him off. And what else set her off is the fact that, he slurps his food. I mean, whatever those noodles was, he must either was hungry or they were really, really good. And it was not making her feel comfortable because all of the faces Krysten made, it was hilarious. But I will say in her confessional, she did say, you know what, I'm not going to worry about him. He must have been really, really hungry. So this is when it gets messy because he has a conversation with Kristen's sister. And so they checked in, you know, and one thing he hasn't really got over is the fact that Krysten still wears makeup and she's all dolled up and curled up the hair and stuff. And he told her sister that he prefers his wife to be more natural and doesn't have to have all of that. Well, it got back to Krysten from her sister. And it didn't sit well with Krysten. And I know she's very emotional with her actions of her face. And she was sitting there waiting for the conversation to hit. And it came up because one of the other couples brought it up. So, did you get over, Mitch, the attractive issue with her being natural? Now, I'm going to give my opinion. And I know everybody got different opinion. Me, myself, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, if my significant other say, hey, I think you're absolutely beautiful, natural, hey, by all means, I'm okay with that. I mean, half of the time, I'm allergic with the stuff I put on my face anyway from time to time. So to get a relief from that is absolutely perfect. Plus, it take up too much time before going out. For me, that is. Maybe not everybody else. I do like to dress up with makeup, but sometimes I like to make my makeup look natural. Anyway, back to Krysten. That, however, for her did not sit well because she saw it as him trying to change her. One thing about marriage, I will say, is you become from independent to interdependency, meaning that the two of you are going to, just as much as she wants him to dial back the whole environmental thing, which is kind of changing his core values. It's also on the flip side, he's saying, okay, can you dial back the makeup? I like your natural. So the two of them got something that they both want each other to pull back on, and neither one of them want to budge. Now, I mean, it sounded like Mitch was like, okay, I can dial it back, but he did say it was going to get even more intense after the process. So honestly, these two are not going to work. Even Nate and Stacia was talking about it. Or on the other side, we heard Alexis and Justin say, yeah, Mitch really don't know what he wants. But these are two people with totally different ideologies when it comes to life, core values, marriage, how to be inside that marriage. You know, I mean, yeah. So that's my thought on those. I mean, it could be an unpopular thought because, hey, I'm okay with the natural thing. I mean, hey, why not? But everybody isn't, and I respect that. So, but let me know what you guys think. And do you think they're going to make it? I don't. And we already lost one couple, so we shall see. Okay, so there you have it. This is the Married at First Sight San Diego season 15, episode 13. The episode was called The Ugly Truth. Let's get the conversation started down in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you soon. Bye.